And we're going to talk about what is necessary in a little bit. You have to understand something. There is good and there is evil. And it is pure evil. It exists. And I'm not going to address it from a religious standpoint. I'm just going to address it from the standpoint of in our society, we have rules. It's the reason that we've been able to survive this long. And those rules are good. They are that we protect each other, that we have the golden rule, that we have things set in place in our morals and our culture, that we are able to live in great quantities of people in one spot and not have utter chaos. We're good people. But there is evil. And it exists. And it could be one lone goofball who goes around setting off bombs, like the Unabomber. It could be a goofball who puts poison in Tylenol capsules. There is evil. I don't give a darn. I don't give a darn if the guy was molested when he was a kid. I don't give a darn if he lived down the street under an overpass for 22 years. I don't give a darn if he was a quote-unquote product of the system and knew nothing but bad stuff. He's evil. If I was the president, things would be a lot different. There's evil out there, by God, and you have to understand it. If you have somebody standing in the middle of a crowded intersection saying, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, and you're going, what the hell is that guy doing? I'll tell you what, you're looking at evil. You're looking right in the eyes of evil, because that guy's going to detonate a bomb. Okay? And I could give a damn about their damn religion, I'll tell you that right now. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, that's my stance. That's the way they see it. The bummer is this. They see us as evil. The prostitute and the heretics. Death to America. The Satan. Okay? That's what they think about us. Okay? Now, be that as it may, that's not every single person who has ever attended an Islamic mosque, but we'll get to that in a few minutes too. The bad guys, they see us as evil, so they could really give a darn about blowing up 50 or 60 innocent men, women, and children. They don't care. They're going to heaven. They're going someplace that they've been taught their entire life is way better than here, and they can do all the things that their religion forbids when they go to heaven. Forgive me for being a little graphic. You can have sex with little boys. You can have sex with 9-year-old girls. You can have 72 virgins. That's okay, because that's all right in their heaven. Explain that to me. If you're here on earth and your religion says this is all forbidden, you can't do it, but by God, if you kill yourself for Allah, you can do all of that up there. Explain that to me. I don't get it, okay? Just my opinion. If there's any doubt, there's no doubt. If you run into a situation, or if you know about somebody that you're suspicious about, my opinion is this. You report it, you observe it, keep an eye on it. If I've got a neighbor down the street and I see all kinds of goofy stuff going on, I don't care if they're Muslim, or if they're Irish, or if they're Bulgarian. I'm going to keep an eye on it, because it doesn't look right. And if it isn't right, it ain't right. And this is an old spook saying that's been around since OSS. If there's any doubt, there's no doubt. That has to do with that moral clarity where there's no hesitation about what your decision is going to be. Anti-terrorism versus counterterrorism. A lot of people ask me that question. What's the difference? Well, anti-terrorism is the preparation for and against a terrorist act. That is, learning about the terrorists, what their motives are, hardening your target, putting things in place to counter a potential terrorist act, forming, let's say, NEST and all of these other organizations that are out there that look for nuclear or radioactive material. Those are all anti-terrorist actions, because they are preparing to thwart an attack that will happen. Okay? That's the main thing about what anti-terrorism is. It's preparing yourself so that you can take the hit. Hopefully, preparing yourself that you can stop the hit. But that's where we switch over to counterterrorism. Okay? Counterterrorism. What is that? That is the active pursuit of the terrorist, bringing the fight to him. Okay? That is using any and all available means to stop their attack, to stop them. Okay? Now, that can also involve a lot of the same actions that are taken by anti-terrorism, which is you can infiltrate their organizations, you can operate behind enemy lines, if you will. I've worked with a group called the Duke Duvan, which is the Israeli, it's their top-tier counterterrorist units. And what those guys are they are trained to completely blend into the native Arab population. At the same time, they are highly, highly trained to kick ass and take names when the time comes. You can read between the lines on that. These are the guys that go in, live amongst the population, they have absolute perfect command of the language, the look, the cultural histories and all that. They're fully imbued with all that. And they look for events that are about to happen. They find the terrorists and they kill them, okay, before they get their chance to do the job. Now, back in the, just as an aside, back in the late 70s, early 80s, Dick Marcinko, what I imagine a lot of you guys know about, they were in Lebanon, they were driving around, they had these frequency transmitters, and they'd be broadcasting these sweeps, and as they're driving around, all of a sudden, from these different apartments, from time to time, boom, bombs go off. Because there were guys putting bombs. Okay? Well, Dick came up with that great idea, and sure enough, somebody from the state said, you can't do that, there's innocent people that might be killed. Well, okay, so when that guy, if I can't do that, he can build a bomb, go out here on the green, blow up a bunch of innocent people. Well, what's the difference here? Okay? I'd rather protect my people than protect their people. And again, you're going to think I might be a real cold-hearted son of a bitch, but I'll tell you what. My job is to protect American people and innocent people. But number one, it's first American people. Okay? I think my self-interests are better served. Now, I'm sorry if that sounds selfish, but by God, I'm an American. And I'm not going to let some son of a bitch kill a bunch of Americans if I have a chance to stop it. Okay? I do feel for innocent people all over, and I would be the person to jump in to protect innocent people no matter where it is. But I'll tell you what we're talking about right now is what we're going to be able to do here in the United States. Because that's, I don't think any of you are traveling abroad. There might be some in their official capacities or whatever. Again, anti-terrorism, preparation, intel gathering, target hardening, scenario gaming, trying to figure out what's going to happen, what the potential is, and infiltration of terrorist organizations. Counterterrorism, active engagement against the terrorists, bring them to fight, killing them before they kill you. In the words of one government agency that's actively involved in this, detect, deny, destroy. That's the charter for counterterrorism. Okay? You've got to think about those words. Detect, deny, destroy. We will be attacked again. There is no question. I interface with a lot of agencies. I interface with a lot of local agencies in the Los Angeles area. We are a prime target. We haven't been hit yet. They've tried several times. They haven't succeeded. They are not giving up. Okay? They still want to fly airplanes in the buildings. That's a fact. Al-Zawahiri just June 9th released a videotape, and in that videotape, again, this is the month after bin Laden was taken down, in the videotape, he talked about, we will not allow American people to sleep safely and soundly in their beds at night. We will rain airplanes down upon your cities. We will kill you. You can look his video up. It just came out about 3 days ago. Has Al-Qaeda been damaged? Damn right it has. And it wasn't just bin Laden. There's been a lot of activity lately. And as a result of bin Laden, there's been several dozen highly placed operatives in Al-Qaeda's organization that have been eliminated as a threat. They are wounded. They are winged. And I'll tell you what, it's like the second string and the third string comes up off the bench, fill the spot. All right? They're still after us. We will be attacked again. into that in a little bit. Operational preparation. That's what we're going to be talking about here today. The counterterrorist operator must possess skills in 5 subject matters. Okay? Mentality, knowledge, weapons, training, and physicality. We're going to talk about each one of those briefly as we go along. These are some of the things that you can say, hey, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. You better prepare yourself. Mentality. As a warrior, you must wake up every day of your life and begin every day with the confidence that you can fight for your life and win. You have to understand that. You have to know that you can win fighting the good fight. Okay? You wake up thinking, if I have to die today, or if I have to fight today, I can win. If it takes me dying to win that fight, I'll gladly give my life for it. Good versus evil, us versus them. That's what it kind of boils down to. We are at a war for civilization. Okay? They do not want Western civilization. Again, I'm not condemning every single Muslim, but bad Muslims do not want Western civilization, and we'll talk about that in a moment too. Knowledge. Know your enemy. That's part of what I'm talking about here today. Okay? There are hundreds and hundreds, there's thousands of Muslims that will take up arms against the United States in a heartbeat if they're given the opportunity. Okay? Here's an interesting fact. There's 1.5 billion Muslims in the world. 50% are illiterate. They cannot read. They can't read the Quran. They can't read it. 85% of all Muslim women are illiterate. That's 9 out of 10 women in the Muslim world cannot read. Well, what does that set up? What it is a general lower educational level of the overall Ummah, which is the grand total of all Muslims. Okay? They are uneducated. All right? That's not to say that they don't have the potential to go to school and learn to be doctors and lawyers. But the point is that in most countries, they are not educated. So what that does is that allows these madrasas and these imams with all the radical ideas to stand up in front of the congregations at their mosques and spew out all kinds of stuff that has no basis in fact. It's inflamed rhetoric to get them worked up that we are the enemy, that we've caused all the ills in their world. And by God, I'll tell you what, if you've ever been in a Muslim country, it's not the United States that causes their problems. It's their own governments and their own despotic rulers that cause problems in their government. Okay? But in order to keep themselves in power, which right now is kind of flippant, they need an enemy that they can blame for causing all their problems. So it's either Israel, the United States, or both of us. Okay? That's the way that they stay in power. So that not only is supported by these goofball radicals, but it's also supported by the governments. So you've got all this push that for some reason the West is bad, and America is evil, and Israel caused the entire world to go to hell in a handbasket. God's sake. Who is a terrorist? Okay? Right now, it could be anybody. And the problem is that there is a huge effort in the United States to recruit people to the jihadist movement. When you look at the United States prison systems, for example, you look at a population of people who commit crimes, and they could be robbers, rapists, child molesters, murderers, etc. Okay? So you have an imam who goes into a prison and talks to a bunch of guys that were rapists and child molesters, for example, and says, you know what?